Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is the upcoming game by From Software, the studio that released Demon's Souls in 2009 and has been wrecking game controllers ever since. How is it my fault if I hurled the controller across the room? Since then we've had Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and now here comes Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, yet another game that intends to dropkick your whole ass over a nearby mountain. Here are 7 baddies who are just raring to deliver you that ass kicking. If video games were delivered in smell-o-vision, your first exposure to Immortal Hanbei would be the stench of decaying flesh. Zombie swordsman Hanbei lurks around the corner from the hub area outside the sculptor's hut, and you only have to chat to him to discover he's up for a scrap. What isn't immediately clear is that Hanbei is actually a training tool. Sparring with Hanbei will help you refine your timing and teach you more advanced techniques. Techniques such as getting good. Make the most of it though, because this is pretty much the closest a Soulsborne game has ever gotten to holding your hand. Watch out, From Software, it's a slippery slope. Before you know it, there'll be a Dark Souls 4 with an easy mode, mid-boss checkpointing, and some sort of explanation of what the hell is going on. Can you even imagine? So yes, Hanbei wants to kick your ass, but you need to understand he's kicking it out of love. Clear the tutorial area, which we aren't allowed to show you because spoilers, and you'll have at least a few areas that are filled with scrub enemies whose necks are practically magnetically attracted to your blade. Honestly, he just ran into my sword, pretty much, Your Honor. The first proper mini-boss you'll encounter is this samurai general Naomori Kawarada, and unlike regular enemies whose blood seems to come out all by itself, you'll notice he has 2 red dots above his energy bar. This means you'll have to perform 2 death blows to kill him, which suggests From Software doesn't understand quite how final death is supposed to be. Wait, what am I saying? These are the people who made Dark Souls. Of course they don't understand death as a permanent state. The other thing worth knowing is that if you can catch one of this type of enemy unawares, you can get the first of those death blows out of the way with a stealth attack. This makes the rest of the fight considerably easier and increases your chances of escaping with an unkicked ass. One of the ways Sekiro differs from Dark Souls and Bloodborne is that it has a story that is explained in cutscenes and a main character who talks. He's still not exactly a chatty Cathy, but it's a start. Part of that story involves you travelling back in time 3 years via mysterious means that we won't spoil here. You'll end up in the burning Hirata estate, a more authentic, less fantastical area that gives us some serious Tenchu Stealth Assassins vibes. Your progress through the estate is likely to be severely hampered by the presence of this white-hooded Shinobi Hunter called Enshin of Meisen, who looks like he got lost on his way to an Assassin's Creed cosplay convention. Sure, you can chip off one of his deathblow dots by hiding in the hedgerow and catching him unawares, but once you're in a fight with him, he'll be attempting to stick you on the end of his enormous spear. And if you think you can just stealth stab him, zip away like a feudal Japanese Spider-Man, wait for a bit until he loses interest and then stealth stab him again, we tried that and he just regenerates his death blow meter. What, did he slap a band-aid over the giant hole we made in his spine? Apparently so, because we sure as hell didn't work out how to beat him in our brief time with the game. Even if we'd arrived with 2 asses, this guy would have kicked them both. We can't help but feel sympathy for the chained ogre, right up to the point where he breaks out of those chains and immediately tries to murder us instead of the guys loudly talking about how they've chained him up.
縛るだけでは不安じゃのう。戦の前に我らが襲われてはしょうもないわ。
If I were him, I'd go for the guys who just called me a big bastard. But what do I know about being an ogre? Apparently, this chained ogre is weak to fire. You can tell from his red eyes. But do you know what else he's weak to? You. Running up to him while he's still chained up, like an absolute hero, and hacking away at him like you're pruning a particularly unruly shrubbery. That way at least you might have gotten a single confidence-raising death blow in before you inevitably fail to sidestep one of his surprisingly long-range rugby tackle moves and get mashed flat. We know for a fact that if you play enough of the game you can unlock the ability to shoot fireworks out of your prosthetic arm, which will likely terrify this guy into submission. But until that point you can expect to be on the receiving end of repeated, kicking to ass interaction. With Sekiro being a new game with new mechanics, it's tough enough handling an area full of regular sword-wielding baddies, trying to perfectly time each and every block. What makes it immeasurably harder is having a huge guy swinging a sledgehammer around right in the middle of them all. He doesn't appear to have a name, unlike some of the other mini-bosses in this list, which, if we know anything about From Software enemies, means we'll have to fight several of him at once later in the game. Like fighting him the first time wasn't an enormously stressful experience that took years off our life. Yeah, that's actually less of an ass kicking, more of an ass smash flatting, now that I think about it. Speaking of multiple enemies, we thought just one of these haystack-looking guys was bad enough. So imagine our dismay when we resurrected, only to discover there are two of them guarding this broken bridge. Honestly, sometimes I don't know why I bother with the excruciatingly painful process of coming back to life. This is actually footage from an area far later in the game called Senpu Temple, where the threat has stepped up considerably. Still, that's no excuse for giving enemies an attack where these guys essentially teleport through us, presumably stabbing up several important organs on the way. Forget Shadows Die Twice, Shadows die 8 or 9 times without even getting a single hit in. No doubt if we spent more than just a couple of hours playing the game, we'll develop our skills to the point where these guys are a minor inconvenience. Until then, we'll be here, offering up a regular supply of asses ripe for the kicking. Finally, there's this enormous chicken, which might well be the most terrifying thing of all, on account of the shock and surprise at encountering one for the first time. Fortunately, they're easy to dispatch, because the only thing worse than an ass kicking is an ass pecking. There you have it, 7 horrible Sekiro Shadows Die Twice baddies whose kicks are laser targeted for your poor defenseless ass. Will you be testing your Soulsborne abilities against this new challenge when it launches on 22nd of March? Let us know in the comments, and if you'd like to watch some more videos from us to help take our mind off our poor, kicked ass, they should be appearing on the screen right now. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and we'll see you next time.